On January 3, 2026, the United States launched Operation Absolute Resolve, a swift military strike into Venezuela. In less than 30 minutes, a nation's sovereignty was shattered and its president abducted. This is the story of how and why Venezuela president and his wife were abducted by U.S. At 46 minutes past 10 p.m. on January 2nd, President Trump authorized the operation. By 1 minute past 2 a.m., 150 U.S. aircraft were in Venezuelan airspace. U.S. military helicopters touched down at President Maduro's compound in Caracas. Simultaneously, American forces struck targets across the capital city. Caracas airbase was disabled. Venezuela's main military complex was struck. The federal legislative palace was targeted. The presidential palace was hit. Large parts of Caracas were plunged into darkness as the power grid was disabled. By 29 minutes past 4 a.m., President and First Lady were aboard the U.S. aircraft. Within hours, they were facing charges of narco-terrorism in a U.S. federal court. The operation lasted less than 30 minutes, but its consequences would be felt across the globe. President Trump declared that Venezuela had become a narco state. He claimed it was a failed nation controlled by drug traffickers. The message was simple. This was a war on drugs. But when you examine the actual data, a very different picture emerges. The United Nations says Venezuela produces zero cocaine. The U.S. Drug Enforcement Administration says 84% of U.S. cocaine comes from Colombia, not Venezuela. The drug route is not Caribbean Sea, it's Pacific Ocean. The data simply does not support the narrative. If the drug trafficking narrative does not hold up, what was the real reason for this military intervention? It's oil. Follow the money. Follow the resources. Venezuela sits on 303 billion barrels of crude oil. This is the largest proven oil reserve on the entire planet. Venezuela has 70% of the world's total proven oil reserves. This is not about helping Venezuela people or U.S. drug eradication program. This is about controlling Venezuela's resources. This was not the first act of U.S. imperialism. 1953 Iran coup that paved the way to dictatorship and the 1979 revolution. 1954 Guatemala, followed by decades of civil war and mass killings. The 1955 Vietnam War, leaving millions dead and a nation devastated. 1989 Panama, a leader removed amid civilian deaths. 2001 Afghanistan, civilian casualties. 2003 Iraq, a state shattered, instability entrenched, power used, societies broken, consequences lasting. Now look at these patterns. It clearly indicates that drug trafficking narrative was the justification. The oil is the real motivation. It is the beginning of a new era of American imperialism. The world now faces a critical choice. Does it accept a new reality in which military might determines resource ownership? Or does it find ways to constrain unilateral military action and rebuild international institutions? The invasion of Venezuela is not just about Venezuela. It is about all of us. It is about the kind of world we have built and continue to do so, turning it into a jungle where only one law applies. Might is right.